My name is Galicia Lopez. I just graduated from being a student at UNT for PR. I like Progress Texas because I'm very scared about my abortion rights being taken away, being kind of stripped of those rights. So I really enjoy what Progress Texas is doing to combat that.
It's Tuesday, May 27, 2025, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. Sine die, the last day of the 89th legislative session here in Texas is now less than 1 week away. It's next Tuesday, June 2nd, and lawmakers work through the Memorial Day weekend in a mad dash to take advantage of the rapidly closing window, including, as Austin Rep. James Tallarico noted, both Saturday, the Jewish Sabbath, and Sunday, the Christian Sabbath, technically breaking God's commandment to remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Tallarico's questioning of Republican State Rep. Candy Noble of Collin County was one of the viral moments of the weekend. She had a little trouble squaring the idea that lawmakers were breaking the commandments of the Almighty in their zeal to force them to be posted prominently in public school classrooms across the state. Senate Bill 10 passed, of course, on party lines and heads back to the upper chamber. And as funny as the Tallarico versus Noble video is, see the show notes for a link, it doesn't come close to being the most egregious example of Republican hypocrisy we've seen. Perhaps the undercutting of a nascent but already multi-billion-dollar industry based on junk medical science and the personal druthers of our lieutenant governor makes that cut. Jasper Shearer at the Texas Tribune says Senate Bill 3, a ban on all products containing THC in Texas, is now headed to Governor Abbott's desk. If he signs it, Texas' $8 billion hemp industry and its estimated 50,000 jobs will go poof in September. In a massive about-face 6 years after the legislature inadvertently touched off that massive boom when they authorized the sale of consumable hemp. Industry leaders and advocates have flooded Governor Abbott with calls to veto the ban since the House approved it on Thursday. The governor has curiously said little about it, really, outside of expressing interest in keeping THC products out of the hands of children, and surely sees an opportunity here to come out smiling like a rose should he strike down a ham-fisted and dumb bill that only Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick and his allies in the alcohol, pharmaceutical, and law enforcement lobbies really want anyway. While they're at it, Senate Republicans are also narrowing the scope of Texas's already stingy medical marijuana program. Isaac Yu at the San Antonio Express-News says new draft language for House Bill 46 reduces the bill's expansion framework, limiting licenses and striking provisions that would create eligibility for people suffering from chronic pain, traumatic brain injuries, and other conditions not currently covered by the program. This amounts to a bait and switch, as several House lawmakers voted for the broader THC ban under assurances that veterans and other people with serious medical needs would have better access under the medical cannabis program. In the current state of things, it falls well short of what our friend Susan Hayes was hoping for at the end of last week here on the Dispatch. Speaking of backwards and dumb, Terry Langford at the Texas Tribune writes that a bill making it easier for Texas parents to opt their kids out of the vaccinations that have been required for school attendance for generations now is also headed to the governor. House Bill 1586 comes, of course, right as a measles outbreak rages in Texas and elsewhere. Rekha Lexmanon with the Immunization Partnership says, quote, sadly to say, the consequences of this bill will not be unintended. Instead, they are completely foreseeable. If this bill becomes law, Texas is likely to see more illness, more death, and higher health care costs for families and businesses, unquote. Not much action this session on gun safety outside of the so-called Uvalde Strong Act, which focuses on law enforcement response to the eventual next school shooting, rather than doing anything at all to prevent that next school shooting, nor the next from happening to begin with. However, Republicans in the ledge have taken action against something they do see as a major problem, and that's cities and counties holding gun buyback events to remove unwanted firearms from their communities, and they're taking steps to stop it. House Bill 3053 continues working its way through the Senate, where debate has centered more on the state government's right to dictate anything to local governments, rather than whether or not Texas cities and towns should be literally littered with guns. While they're sure not listening to victims of gun violence, typically Republican officials will pay attention to billionaires, and one has been in Governor Abbott's ear about another bill he's poised to sign. Yasmina Un at Digital Market Report says Apple CEO Tim Cook has urged the governor to think twice before signing House Bill 186, which would ban minors from owning or using social media accounts and would thus require age verification for all users. Apple and Google have both raised privacy concerns about the bill, warning that the law could lead to unnecessary collection of sensitive data on everybody. Yet another dumb law that blunders into a digital world that Republican lawmakers clearly fail to understand. And if Governor Abbott signs it, you and I will pay the price. DFW and North Texas friends, please mark your calendars for Monday, June 9th. That's when we'll be celebrating our 15th anniversary in Dallas. Links to become a supporter and to secure your tickets are up now at progresstexas.org. Big shout out to our generous event sponsors, Howard Cleon, Charles Zeller, Pamela Pearson, Alex Andrade, Scott Elpingstone, the law offices of Domingo A. Garcia, PC, Carol Taylor, Chuck Cruz, Amy Forehand, Eric Johnson and Dr. Mark Parker, John Mazzaro, the Honorable Gene Wu, the Honorable Yasmin Simon, Jenny Laughlin, and many more. Thanks so much for the support, y'all. We look forward to seeing you again for 15 years of progress in Dallas on Monday, June 9th. Tickets now at progresstexas.org. Our mission at Progress Texas is to counter the conservative disinformation machine, but they far outmatch us in funding. Oil and tech billionaires and religious right-wing activist groups spend a lot of money keeping their audiences in the dark. If you've come to appreciate the light we shine on important political news in Texas on a daily, ongoing basis, please know that our regular, everyday listeners form a key component of our funding. If that's you, we could use your support as a monthly contributor, and no amount is too small. Go to progresstexas.org/donate. Thanks to Sarah Aberg, Kelly Craven Sharp, and Patricia Smothers, all of whom have joined the team lately. We appreciate all of y'all very much. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Tuesday, May 27th, 2025. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Progress Texas is a nonprofit rapid response media organization promoting progressive messages and actions. While campaigns come and go, we're the permanent home for progressive media and action in the Lone Star State. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day. We'll catch you again tomorrow morning.